Hello, my name's Ron Vroman. I'm the old man talking head for the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. We don't have Charlie to give the prayer this evening, so let's take a moment of silence and remember Roger. Amen. So, would you guys introduce yourselves? I have William and Richard with me today. Go ahead, William.
Al, I'm here in the Portland area. I'm from the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly.
Hey, my name's Richard Koenig. I'm trying to be with the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly, but I haven't managed to sign up yet.
Can we brag?
Today I want to talk about people versus person.
Go right ahead.
Is that going to be okay? So a lot of people are not aware that there's a distinction between people and person. And I'd like people to get out their pencils or pens or something to write with so that they can note the statutory citations that I give them. Person is basically businesses, corporate entities, and they're defined in the Oregon Revised Statutes in the chapter on statutory construction. Statutory construction is all statutes have been constructed. So this is the chapter that you have to read first in order to comprehend what's going on in the rest of the Oregon Revised Statutes. It's chapter 174. I don't know why they stuck it so far back, but it's chapter 174. And person is in 174, 100, subsection 6, and it refers to business entities. There is one word at the beginning, and it's not really definitions, it's examples of person. But there's one word at the beginning called individual, and that confuses a lot of people. But an individual is a single thing that is drawn from the group that it's a member of. You know, it's a single entity from the group that it came out of. So we're talking about, in this case, we're talking about only those entities that are in 174, 100, subsection 6. And all the rest of them are business entities. Therefore, individual is one of them, okay? And that same basic list of entities is in Chapter 183. ORS 183 is the Oregon Administrative Procedures Act. And that describes the way that each agency in Oregon's government, or the state of Oregon, I should say, the state of Oregon's agencies deal with who they deal with, the regulated entities. And the list is virtually identical, but it's not quite verbatim, but it's essentially the same. So those are persons. They are business entities. The people are they're not described actually either, but they're mentioned in the first sentence of the Oregon Constitution. And I think the best way for people to comprehend that, could I say that again?
Go ahead.
All right. We declare that all men, when they form a social compact, are equal in right. Now that's men and women. It's the race of men. That all power is inherent in the people. That all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their peace, safety, and happiness. And they have at all times a right to alter, reform, or abolish the government in such manner as they may think proper. So those are the people. They have all the power. Government was formed for their peace, safety, and happiness, and they can do whatever they want. Okay? It's not nearly the same as person. As a matter of fact, what is a person? What is the etiology, the beginnings, the origins of the word person? Well, I just happened to have run across it. It is an early, thousands of years ago, theater term from Greece. It's persona. Persona means the mask that an actor held in front of his face to denote the character that he was portraying. It has nothing to do with an actual human being. It is a mask that means something. It means, this is a good guy, this is a bad guy, this guy is from Babylon, and etc. It's not the same as a people. And this is why our laws are written the way they are. They're written so that entities that do certain things are regulated in their functions, in the functions that they are occupied in, as in their businesses, like in the chapter called the chapter that regulates barbers. Barbers are subject, they're persons, but it does not include the people like a mom who uses a pair of scissors to cut her children's hair. She's not acting as a barber. A barber is in business to make a living. And a mom she's cutting her children's hair maybe to save money, maybe because she doesn't like the way anybody else cuts their children's hair. Maybe it's convenient, who knows? But she's not in it for business, and she doesn't do it generally. She doesn't cut other people's hair. So she's not a person subject to the barber's regulatory scheme. As a matter of fact, I asked the attorney for the Legislative Assembly, Dexter Johnson. I said, "Hi, Dexter, can you send me the public record or records in which the public is compelled to do anything, the general public?" And he sent me nothing. There is nothing to send because the public means anyone who is not involved in the activities of a particular chapter of the ORS. The public is someone else, someone who is not subject to regulation. Oh. So that's the basic difference between people in whom all power is inherent and persons who are subject to the law. Okay, can we take off from there? Is there anything else to say about the basic difference? I've got a lot to say about it, but
Can I say a couple of things here?
I want you to. Yeah, I'm asking.
Okay. People and persons, I think, is evolved from statutory law, because in that law form, he who can be deceived, let him. That's one of their passwords in their law form. Whereas in our law form, the de jure, we're not trying to deceive anybody. So there's no reason to use word art to the point to confuse. We're trying to eliminate the confusion and come to justice and come to reason, while they're trying to do legal. And legal and lawful are two different things. The one of the old dictionaries, I think it was a Bouvier, one of the guys in private attorney general one morning looked it up and read it to us. And in the old days, in the old law forms, in the old dictionary, they said the difference between legal and lawful was legal had God removed. And I thought that was classic. So I looked up in Black's Law people, and people are flesh and blood. Don't you say that, Richard?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
People are men and women, children. But when I read Black's Law, go ahead.
I want everybody to remember that the Constitution that I cited Article 1, Section 1 out of, I didn't say it's not a definition of people, but people are referenced in Article 1, Section 1. That was written by the people, not by somebody in government, not by somebody ruling over us. We are the people in whom all power is inherent, and we wrote that Constitution. We wrote it for our own benefit. Go ahead.
People, a state, as the people of the state of New York. I disagree with their first definition. A nation in its collective and political capacity, the aggregate or mass of the individuals who constitute the state. In a more restrictive sense, as in generally used in construction law, the entire body of those citizens of a state or nation who are invested with the political power of the political purpose. They don't say flesh and blood, body, mind, spirit, man or woman anywhere in Black's Law's definition of people. And that is perfect because he who can be deceived, let him.
Okay. Let's talk about what constitutes a people. What is the essence of a people? It's not that they are, because a cow, a steer, something you eat, you eat the flesh. We generally don't drink the blood, but we eat the flesh of a cow. We are not cows. We don't eat each other generally. But there's more to us than just flesh and blood. I don't even think that flesh and blood is an accurate or adequate definition of a people. We, who are people, we have the ability to perceive. We understand things. We are in relationship to others. Relationships are mind things that occur within our thought processes. And I'm not even, I'm trying to make a distinction here between body parts like a brain. I'm not saying brain, I'm saying in our mental processes, in our thinking processes. It's not a physical part of us. It's
Can I make a point, Richard?
I want you to. Yeah, I want to discuss this.
Body, mind, spirit. That's one of them. Flesh, blood,
Okay.
soul.
Flesh, blood, not so much.
Soul.
Probably.
It's body, mind, spirit, flesh, blood, soul. You got it. You got to get all the pieces together.
Okay. But there's a lot. Yeah, and you have to get them all together. That is correct. If you don't have all of them, you probably don't have a people. But we can exist on the phone. I mean, well, I'm out of your sight. You're in sight to others. But on the phone, generally, we're not visible to each other. but it's our mental processes coming through verbal, practices, through the movement of our tongue and our lips that comes across. And those are things that people learn, how to move our lips and our tongue to form words so that our communication can bridge across spaces. We are spirit. We are unseen. We can be seen, you're seen, but the body is not really us, because we exist in space, not in a space, but in space generally. We are a huge thing. I'm sorry. I'm almost getting beyond what we're talking about, but this is why all power is inherent in the people. It's because we go further than mere flesh and blood. We go beyond the space where we stand at any given moment. We're big. We're all powerful. All power is inherent in the people. We have the capacity to form, create thoughts. Create is another good word for a people. People are creative. People are born with a sense of creativity, and that's what makes us. That's maybe what sets us apart from so many other living creatures that are made up of flesh and blood. But that's why we're not merely flesh and blood. We have the ability.
Okay. We have the ability to think about our consequences for others when we do things, where I don't think the animals have any thought of that.
A lot of them don't. Some of them do. I don't think
Agreed.
we can just
The primates,
we can't make blanket statements.
well, they've done a lot of
Say that again?
experiments with animals, right? The primates come close
Yeah.
to our stuff, our thoughts, but I don't think a fish has that ability.
Fish
But a
doesn't
dolphin
probably.
does.
More of a robotic thing than anything else.
But a dolphin does.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
and they're not fish. They're not fish. Okay. But so one of the things that William and I were talking about prior to the show was ORS chapter, what was it, 174? 175. Oh, no, 475.
475.
475. Controlled substances, right? So the people who get busted for controlled substances or under the various sections of this chapter, they're actually persons. The law is written about persons. The law is written to regulate persons. In that chapter, the law is written to regulate pharmacists, people who deal, who are in the business of buying and selling drugs. And the people who are typically busted for various things under that chapter, they don't know whether they don't even imagine themselves. They're not trying to be a pharmacist. They don't imagine themselves to be a pharmacist who's selling drugs to any client. They are merely contracting. They're exchanging goods, the drugs, whatever, for something else. Could be cash, could be another item as exchange. But they're not persons. They're not persons who are in business selling drugs. They're not licensed pharmacists, and they're not trying to be. But the system is taking advantage of their ignorance and saying, you're violating this law that says pharmacists have to have a license to do this, or else they commit the crime. Or this drug is not authorized for pharmacists to sell.
But that's the
What about the
persona,
people?
right? They get the
Yeah,
license,
yeah,
and that makes them a persona. When they go home, they're not a pharmacist anymore, right? They're not doing that.
that's
They're a father or mother or whatever. But when they go to work, they put on the persona that they are a pharmacist.
absolutely, absolutely. As long as you are at work, as long as your contract that, that says you're a pharmacist says you are at work, that's what you are. But the moment your contract doesn't require you to be in that role, you're a people. So, and vice versa. People can't be licensed pharmacists, especially if they don't even think about it. You know, they're not trying to be, they're not imagining themselves to be, they're not representing themselves to be a pharmacist. And that by itself, just the fact that they are not trying to be a pharmacist, they are exempt or beyond, they're beyond the law. And but we don't know this. We the people.
The ultimate user.
Okay, the ultimate user. Let's talk about an ultimate user. An ultimate user is someone who consumes a product, anything. It doesn't have to be a product. It could be something that we pull out of the ground and eat, a carrot. An ultimate consumer is someone who is authorized. You know, they're not authorized. Authorized is another term for person. Someone authorizes persons. We, the people, authorize our legislature to make laws to protect us, to make us ensure our peace, safety, and happiness, right? And the laws that they make regulate persons, business entities, pharmacists in this case, not to harm us, not to screw with us. But it doesn't have anything to do with the people who prefer to smoke dope, prefer to be pain free, prefer to do drugs generally, whatever drug it is. Those are
So
all
medication.
yeah, we can call it medication. The word medicate, that's not a legal term, is it? Does that imply a business? I don't think so.
I think so.
Medication.
Pharmacy, pharmaceutical.
I
That's
think
the Dave
pharmacy means
right?
people that are in business, pharmaceutical companies, pharmaceutical businesses. Those entities are, when you say pharmaceutical, that implies business. But medical doesn't imply corporate activity, right? That has to do with feeling, getting an analgesic effect, losing the pain that we might otherwise experience, right? So,
Richard,
yeah, go ahead.
medical, page 982 in blacks, pertaining, relating, or belonging to the study and practice of medicine, or the science and art of investigation, prevention, cure, and alleviation of disease.
Okay. There's nothing about a business in there, right?
Nothing
It
about
is the
people either.
practice. Right.
Yeah, because you can apply those things to animals, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm more or less correct then. Medication is not a term which implies a business, right? Anyway, that's just an aside. So
All right, so we
And
got
there-
about less
there-
than
there
a
are-
minute. We're gonna wrap it up soon here.
Okay, somebody else make comments. I think I've been dominating the show.
No, it's been good. Been good.
I want
Any other
people
comments?
to, I want people to pay attention and find their local Jural assembly on whatever state they're on. If they're on Oregon, find us. Declare your status and become a member of the grand jury so that you can act as a people, one of the people, and not be a person, because we have a civilian law on Oregon now, and we are not in the de facto. We are in another law form, another jurisdiction.
Be careful
All right,
with that
so
word
I-
de facto.
Yeah,
Tell people what de facto means.
you tell them. I'd have to look it up and read it.
Okay. De facto means in fact. What we perceive, the things that we understand to be so, is de facto. We call it, they are in fact the government, regardless of whether it's, quote, legal or not. And there's another term that goes just the other direction, de jure. Jure is truly or in actuality, beyond what we can see, beyond our perception. There is de facto law and de facto lawmakers, and there is de jure, the actual law, the fundamental law that the people are subject to, which is constitutional.
Yes.
Anyway, go ahead.
No, it just fits perfectly with people in person. Are we about ready to wrap it
Yeah.
up here, William?
Yep. So we want people to like this show and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And of course, go to our websites and Facebooks. And of course, spread the word about freedom. All
And
right.
be
Good
people.
night, everybody.
Practice being people. Thanks. Bye.
Yes. Thank you.